Evelyn Lozada is back in the news again because she just can't seem to let former NFL All-Pro wide receiver and ex-husband Chad Johnson go an astonishing 8 years later. When these chicks belong to the streets, you leave them to the streets. Let's get into it. Hello everyone, this is your boy Gabe with Ultimate Black Man Radio. Thank you for tuning in. If you are new here, do us a favor, hit the like button. Once you do that, hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell to be kept up to date to what we're doing here on the channel. Today we will be discussing a long-time athlete, groupie, and attention whore, Evelyn Lozada. Yes, Evelyn is back in the news. She has social media ablaze right now. And of course, you know, back a few months ago, I did a video on Evelyn discussing how her newfound religious path was a sham. And of course, as usual, it looks as if I were correct. You know, when gold diggers and street hoes get ran through out here in these streets, they tend to turn to Jesus and they want the Lord to wash their nasty sexual past away, which never seems to work. But I digress. That is not what we are here to discuss today. What we'll be talking about today, you know, I was just taking my usual stroll through Twitterland and I saw that Chad Johnson was trending. So I decided to do a little research to find out what was going on. And for those that don't know, Chad Johnson played football for the Cincinnati Bengals. Most notably, he was an all-pro receiver. He was then traded to the Miami Dolphins. And during his time down in Miami, he began to see athlete pass around and basketball wives, reality star Evelyn Lozada. And of course, most people know this. You know, Chad and Evelyn got married. In fact, their marriage date was July 4th, 2012. They actually got married on July 4th, literally 8 years ago. It's like 8 years to the day. And the marriage lasted a measly 41 days. And the two split due to a domestic violence incident. Evelyn claimed Chad headbutted her after she confronted him about some open condoms she found in his car, and things escalated from there. After the incident, Evelyn went on this nationwide slander tour of Chad, claiming to be a victim of domestic violence, thus causing Chad Johnson to be cut by the Miami Dolphins. He lost every endorsement deal he had, and after the massive fallout with Evelyn, it was reported that things got so bad for him, he could not pay his homeowners association dues for the neighborhood he lived in. So Chad took a massive L after this incident with Evelyn. While Evelyn, after she did the slander tour, went on to do more episodes of Basketball Wives, and of course she had the empathy of the nation, and she also went on to date Carl Crawford. So that's what happened with the whole incident between Chad and Evelyn 8 years ago. So we fast forward to today, literally exactly 8 years later after the two were married, and Chad has done an amazing job rehabilitating his image. He's built his wealth back. He has built his resources back that were taken from him back in 2012. And overall, he's doing really well. He's doing extremely well. He has a nice sized Twitter and Instagram following. He's moved on. He's dated other women. In fact, he has had a child since Evelyn and Chad broke up with another gold digger, Alexia. I think her name is Farquharson. I think the child's about 4 or 5 years old. And yes, Chad is a little, he loved them hoes. I think this dude got like 7 kids by like 3 or 4 different women. So Chad, he be out here, and he can't pull out of a driveway. But the point I'm trying to make here is Chad has literally, he's moved on and he's made a really good life for himself. He really has. And he said as much when he responded to one of his Twitter followers. And I'm going to read the tweet here. The girl, one of his followers. So the follower says, What's the secret? How do you stay so positive? Was it therapy, not being funny, really asking for myself? And Chad goes on to say, I lost my temper for once in life for 3 seconds, and it cost me a lifetime's worth of work. I got it all back, plus some, after getting a second chance, and nothing will ever get me out of that happy space again. And I mean, listen, I think it's an innocent enough quote, to be honest. I mean, it seems as if Chad is actually taking responsibility or accountability rather for what he has done. So I don't think there was anything bad about this. I mean, he's not even really denying that, you know, he did headbutt her with this tweet anyway. So I don't think it was anything wrong with what he said. But of course, not even 3 hours later, Evelyn takes to Instagram and she records a video, and she gave a very emotional and teary-eyed response. Here's some of what she had to say.
Hey, so I wanted to, respond to a few things. A few weeks ago, I was actually going to, discuss certain things and decided not to. But I think today is, the perfect time to address things that are on my heart. I woke up today to Chad's comment, and as much as I told myself that I wasn't going to respond because it's not the first time that he's made this comment, I'm just tired. I'm really, really tired. And for this man to sit up there and say that, he lost his temper for 3 seconds is infuriating to me, and as much as I'm trying to heal from this situation I've been dealing with this shit for years, not only because I'm on a show, just everything is just so public. So, as much as I'm trying to heal from this, it's messages like this, it's tweets or whatever the hell it was that are triggers for me. Okay. And, for this man to say, it was one incident, 3 seconds of his life, he lost everything. And then what happens? It affects, people read this on social media and then are coming at me talking about, oh, you made this man lose his job. It's like, if you're going to speak the truth, I want you to speak the truth as to what the situation was. Okay. It wasn't the first time. It wasn't the first time. And one of the things that I'm always going to do is I'm always going to live in my truth, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's ugly. I'm not going to let anybody take away my fucking truth. Okay. And put this perception out there for a pity party as if you made one mistake, and I'm trying to move on from this, but as a victim, how am I supposed to move on? And I'm not looking for attention. I was at home. I'm minding my own fucking business. And then I have to deal with this. And it's hurtful to me. It's hurtful to me because I know my truth. And I have never discussed anything else that has ever happened other than the incident that people know. Because I always was concerned about his kids and our kids and always having to relive this. But you can't make comments like this and expect for nobody, especially me, that I'm on the other end of this, to feel how I feel. Okay? And then when it comes to, basketball wives, I know that people, tend to connect, my character on this show with what happened to him. And I understand that to a certain degree. I get it. I take full responsibility. I know I'm the one on this show. I'm the one that hasn't been the most positive person. I know I'm the one that has made us look bad. And I'm sorry. And I understand that I didn't always handle things the right way. I am, and I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed, and I'm embarrassed sometimes for my family because, like, this is a forever thing, but the person that I am on basketball wives and who I am as a mother and how I've been in my personal relationships, whether it be with Carl or Chad, are two totally different things. And what happened to me that day and other days, I didn't deserve. I didn't deserve that, because I have always been a good woman. I have always been a great mom. I have always been a great stepmom. And for this man to make that comment today, more than one occasion, I have ignored this several times because I don't want to argue. I want to move on from this situation. Is a trigger for me. And I apologize to just the world and everybody just for not being the most positive person. When you were watching the show and sitting in the house and maybe saying certain things, and maybe at the time it was funny and it wasn't, because of everything that's going on, I know I have to do better. So I apologize for that. And for anyone that is dealing with domestic violence, you don't let nobody, when I tell you don't let nobody fucking take away your truth. You don't let nobody make you feel like you're wrong for being honest and speaking up about something that happened to you, okay? Let me be an example, because I refuse to let social media, I refuse to let the world attack me, because I have always been honest about this situation. I have never lied about not one detail as to what happened to me. So I'm going to leave this video here, and I'm sorry that I'm so upset. It's just that this is a lot for me, and I just want to heal, and I just want to move on from this situation. So if we're going to speak about this situation, we could talk about the truth. We could be honest, and we could talk about everything that happened if you really want to discuss it. But if you don't, then don't say nothing.
All right, so that's what Miss Evelyn, the pass around as I like to call her, had to say in response, which normally, folks, me, family, I wouldn't even address this. I would just let this be. But when Ultimate Black Man sees hypocrisy in these hoes, I gotta call it out. And over the years, Evelyn has made several questionable statements in regards to the entire incident that happened back in 2012 that ended the marriage. And we're going to go over a few of those things here. First thing here we got is an interview back in 2018 where Shaunie O'Neal, ex-wife of Shaquille O'Neal, and Evelyn were on the Red Pill podcast. I think that is one of the guys that's on TMZ. He hosts the Red Pill podcast. Ironic name, but I digress. He had these two ladies on, and he asked Shaunie and Evelyn a question, and he asks, if you could call on any ex to help you out if you were in a dire situation, who would it be? And here is Evelyn's response. Yeah, family, you heard it right. She says that she would call Chad. And I find it interesting that she demonized Chad to the point where he basically lost his career. He lost his football career, all his endorsements, and he was at his peak. He could have played a few more years, but he lost all that because of this claim Evelyn made. However, you say this is the guy again. You say he beat the crap out of you, and here you MBR. We listen. We do not condone domestic violence of any sort. I do not tell men the best way to handle your situation is to hit your woman. In fact, I tell dudes, especially in this era of Me Too, it's best that you walk away. And women that get disrespectful, this is why you have to charge women that are very, very disrespectful to the game, because they can end up causing a lot of unnecessary turmoil in your life. But she, after causing him to lose everything, she's saying he, knocked the crap out of her. He headbutted her and caused her to get stitches. She goes on to say that I would call him if I were in trouble because I know he is reliable. Now, That doesn't sound like a victim to domestic violence, but for now, I'm going to digress and let's listen to this next video here where her castmate, Tammy Roman, points out something interesting Evelyn said. Evelyn was being interviewed by Access Hollywood a few years back, again with Shawnee O'Neal, and I have searched high and low for that interview, and apparently it's been scrubbed from the internet, of course, since all this has been going down, but what Tammy here says is evidence enough to the point I am trying to get across. Let's take a listen to this and see what Tammy has to say about this.
Evelyn actually did an interview on Access Hollywood and was asked, you know, would she go back to Chad or would she have gone back? And she openly admitted that if no one knew about the incident, she would have gotten over it and gone back and they probably would still be together.
All right, folks, so there you go. You've heard it for yourself. And listen, I'm just going to be really honest here. I have a hard time buying into this narrative Evelyn's pushing. She's all on Instagram with these crocodile tears, acting like she's a victim of domestic violence. Because if you are a victim of someone in a domestic violence situation, you aren't going to go around for years basically saying you wish you had them back. I've actually had friends that have literally gone through domestic violence issues with men, and they ain't telling me, you know, Gabe, I wish I could get back with so-and-so, so-and-so. No. And I mean, she basically said verbatim in the Access Hollywood interview that if people did not know about the incident and it happened, she just would have got over it and she would have got back with Chad. She said that herself. See, what we got to understand here, folks, is Evelyn, when she was crying on Instagram earlier yesterday, she wasn't crying because Chad denied that the incident happened or that Chad told a half truth. She's crying online because this man who she tried to destroy, she tried to destroy this man. He's moved on and he's made a very productive and positive life for himself. And she's over here dating athlete number 20. And she knows deep down inside that it's over. She knows that it's over. Chad has moved on. He has built this successful life without her. You know, if he was out here struggling still on the struggle bus, and he was broke and he wasn't prospering, she would not have anything to say. No, she wouldn't. We wouldn't be here. However, now that Chad has moved on and he's actually pretty successful, she is having a lot of regret. Yes, she is having a lot of regret, and that's what you're seeing here. See, this is the thing. This is what happens when you spend your good years out here trying to gold dig and finesse the game. The game is to be played, but it can be very, very unforgiving. The game can be very unforgiving. And here's Evelyn in her early 40s. She's dated every athlete imaginable. And what does she have to show for it? I mean, she has to show she can make an appearance on a reality show. She has 2 kids and and one being a son by a man, Carl Crawford, who didn't see her worthy enough to marry. Jada Black did an excellent video about why Carl Crawford refused to marry Evelyn. You can go to his channel and check that out. But Evelyn is a loser with nothing to show for her decades of hoeing. And that's what the real problem here is. How dare this man that, I got his career canceled. How dare he go and build himself back up without me? Y'all know that song by Chloe and Haley. It's called Happy Without Me. That's what Evelyn is singing in the shower when she sees Chad on Twitter prospering. She's like, how dare you be happy without me, nigga? And fellas, there's a little game in here for you as well, fellas. There's a little game in here for you as well. That being, when these hoes belong to the streets, leave them to the streets. Too many of you goofies are out here playing Captain Save-A-Wench to chicks you just supposed to smash and move on from. Chad had no business really even associating with Evelyn, because at the time she already had a checkered dating history. She was with Antoine Walker, basketball player, I think for the Miami Heat. She was with him for 10 years. He also never saw fit to marry her after those 10 years. And here comes Chad 4 years after that relationship with Antoine, putting a ring on it. And now he's wondering why he took an L. Scandalous hoes like Evelyn can cost you your livelihood. And a lot of you square dudes out here, y'all messing around with these chicks like Evelyn that are real toxic. And I know that word gets used a lot these days, but Evelyn fits that bill. Evelyn is a very toxic, manipulative, scandalous chick. She actually has the nerve to publicly state she would love to get back with a man after making him lose everything. I mean, the delusion of these chicks is unreal. So no, I'm not buying anything Evelyn Lozada is putting out. I think she's full of crap, and I don't mind saying that. If you're a victim of a domestic violence situation, you're not gonna be parading around every chance you get, basically saying, I would get back with him, or he's a great guy. I thought he was such a bad person. He headbutted you. You were scared, right? I mean, that's what you were saying on these interviews when you were slandering him 8 years ago, but I digress. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all I have today. I had to cover this. Y'all know how these chicks like Evelyn, they get under my skin. She was running around here a few months ago saying she had found God. Now she's all on Instagram crying crocodile tears and wanting empathy from folks. She's full of crap. She's a hoe out here in the game. And, the game has not been kind to her as of late. She's taken L after L. And then she's really looking for any way to stay relevant, outside of that Basketball Wives reality spot she has. How is Evelyn winning? She's not. She's a loser, and that's what she's crying about. So I do want to thank you guys for coming through and listening to me on today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Also, be sure to check us out over on Facebook at Ultimate Blackman Radio, Instagram at Ultimate Blackman, and of course, you can also find us on Patreon if you'd like to financially support the channel over on Patreon. It'd be patreon.com/Ultimate Blackman Radio. Until next time, you guys be blessed. Please be safe as we are in trying times with the COVID-19. I wish nothing but peace and blessings to everyone that is listening right now. And until next time, Ashe.